As you guys know, I am a man who is very passionate about video games, specifically MMORPGs, and the ones that hold a place dearest to my heart are Korean MMORPGs because they pretty much offer me everything that I love about MMOs, and the playstyle and design of Korean MMOs are just, my favorite. A lot of you play the game Black Desert, a lot of you play the game ArcAge, played both, or know about both. I was curious to know if some of you guys know about the game Bliss Online. I covered this game a while ago on my channel as far as character creation goes, the mount and battle system, and things like that. And one of the questions that people are asking lately is Bliss Online good? What's wrong with the combat? Everybody talks about the combat. So for those of you who don't know what Bliss Online is, from personal experience and articles and by definition, it is not a sandbox MMO. You can look it up and they may call it sandbox here and there, but from what I played and what I've seen, there is no housing system. It's instance based when it comes to dungeons and things like that, but it does have a huge, massive open world. Possibly bigger than Black Desert's, definitely bigger than ArcAge's. The world is so huge that it may always give you that sandbox feel, especially if this game gains popularity and there's always players to be on. That means there will be non-stop PvP and non-stop people that you run into in the wild. And because it kind of shares so many similarities with ArcAge, I guess that also gives people the vibe that it comes off as sandbox. Bliss Online has been in development for 7 years and has had over $56 million invested into it. $56 million. Now, from somebody who has played Bliss, there were a ton of new features I've seen in this game that I hadn't seen in many other MMOs. And also, playing this game was a very cool experience. Now, I did have some problems with it, but before I get into those, I also want to, let the game shine a little bit. The character creation is A1. Out of all the MMOs I've ever played, which is countless, this has the best character creation I've ever seen until Black Desert, which, nobody expected character creation to be so in-depth with a game like that. So if you remove Black Desert, this is the best on the market. Now, you guys may not know, but Bliss has been announced to finally come to NA. I did a video on that way back then. And the thing was, we didn't know which company was going to be backing Bliss Online. We thought it was going to be Dom, but it turns out that it's Aeria Games. Now, some people say that this is a good thing, some say it's a bad thing. Most say that it's a bad thing. Me personally, I don't know much about Aeria Games except I think a few games fell off under their belt. So I would like to know what you guys think about Aeria Games backing Bliss. From what I hear, it's going to be a disaster. Honestly, I can't really think of a company out there that's really doing a good job. You have Dom, who, they can't cater to every single person and they're not on everyone's best side, but they are handling Black Desert pretty well in my opinion. Not going pay to win, but the game is quite expensive. Now, thank God this didn't fall in the hands of Tryon. I don't know what we would have done with ourselves. We would have known the game would have been doomed and went pay to win, so no point in even playing it. As a person who likes both tab targeting and action combat, every game is pushing more towards action combat, but some of us still want to play that traditional kind of game, or just play both. It would be nice to have a mixture of both for me. And if players didn't move from ArcAge to Black Desert, they're most likely going to move from ArcAge to Bliss Online. But before I keep giving the game praise, let's actually discuss some of the bad things about Bliss. The questing in Bliss was extremely boring. It was like, go out and kill 15 of these bulls. Now go out and kill 18 of these bulls, but you have to collect this item. Now go out and kill 17 hawks. And then go out and kill 15 hawks and collect these items. And that's pretty much the usual in any MMO, but when it came to this game, it was so fucking boring because the combat is so bad. People are asking me, and I get this question a lot, how is the combat in Bliss? Is Bliss Online good? I heard the combat is bad. Some people don't see the combat as bad, and for all classes, it may actually be entertaining. But for somebody who tried out the Assassin, around level 30, you have quite a few skills, and most of those skills appear to have the same animations. It's a 1, 2, 3 stab animation, and then you have one animation that makes the stab look a bit stronger, and then you have another animation that applies poison to your stab, and it looks the same. They have very similar sound effects. The impact of your skills doesn't feel like it's there. In ArcAge, you're playing a tab targeting MMO where when you're doing all these skills, your fucking character looks like he's flipping through the air, causing explosions, sword on fire, doing whirlwinds. It looks amazing. In this game, not so much. With the combat, you can switch to 2 different styles, I believe, maybe even 3, but I think it changes the camera angle and allows you to manually manually aim with certain classes like mages and rangers. So this is just coming from somebody who has played the assassin class. You can go through the playlist that I'm going to link in my description and check out my other videos where I kind of go more in depth on it. But, you know, from my experience, the combat was extremely boring. And the thing is, I'm 99% sure it's not going to be fixed, because if they were taking all the feedback about it and going to fix the combat, why would they already be planning to bring it over to the West as if it's a finished game over in KR, you know? So most of the complaints that I heard about the combat came from us Americans, and I don't know if the Koreans have been complaining about the combat. If they're totally fine with it, of course they're not going to fix it for some people who live outside the country of the client, right? You know, who cares what they think? Now, it is coming to us, but I doubt they're going to redevelop the whole combat system just because we complain about it. Other than that, it's a beautiful game, it's a great game, but the combat makes the questing so boring. And maybe just because the questing is boring, period, but I don't know, you have your typical questing in games. Another thing that kept the questing not as boring and causing me to put the blame on the combat was the fact that I could change mounts whenever I wanted. You can capture any monster or boss in the wild, and the higher level, the harder it is to get, and I'm sure that bosses will be extremely hard to get, making it worth it when you capture them. But you can either turn them into a battle pet or a mount, not both, and it doesn't really give you a choice. It's just, you know, if it's a monster out in the wild that you fought, such as like a Skull Knight, he's going to turn into a battle pet. And if it is like a wolf you fought, then it's going to turn into a mount, and you can ride it as soon as you capture it. And it was so badass because you can collect hundreds of these mounts and pets, meaning that every single player is going to have unique mounts and battle pets. There's even flying mounts in the game, but those are further down the line and I didn't make it that far. So I've been thinking about playing Bless some more if I can, and you know, if you guys would like me to do some more coverage on it, I will do it for you. The PvP in this game, from what I've seen, is amazing. The contested world bosses fighting over a dragon 100 versus 100 reminds me of the good old days in Arcade when things were populated and there was a lot of action. If this game actually gains popularity in the West and gets the kind of PvP and active player base that it should, it will definitely seem like a sandbox MMO, or just a game that never leaves you bored, because that's what sandbox MMOs do for me. I'm never bored because there's always something to do. But what about in a game that only has instance-based dungeons and PvP that you queue for? Eventually it gets boring. But with the game with the map so massive, there's always somewhere to explore and find players to kill. And you know me, I love PvP. I think it's a beautiful game. The combat is lacking, the questing is bad, but I mean, in what game is it really fun to grind to max cap? You can't really say every single game is fun. I mean, some are less boring. For Black Desert, it was less boring for me because I don't mind the grinding. For Blade and Soul, it was less boring for me because it was quick to get to max cap and the combat was fucking amazing. But, you know, other games like WoW and Skyforge and Arcade, where the questing was just so bad or the questing was so repetitive, you know, games like that really bore me. So I want to know what you guys think about Bless Online. How do you feel about it coming over to the West, and how do you feel about Aeria Games being the team behind it? And do you plan on playing this game when it comes out? And would you guys like me to continue covering this game and maybe bringing you some PvP or update videos here and there of things that I learned about Bless, maybe even guides that will help you guys when it comes out? So as always, thank you guys for watching the video, and shout outs to everybody on GameWisp supporting me to do this full time. Really appreciate it, and I would like to hear from you guys. Catch you in the next video.